I'm Igor Kayfetz, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, a podcast for anyone who wants to build a wildly profitable email list working from home. If you'd like to make six figures, travel the world, and help people improve their lives in the process, then this podcast is for you. I also invite you to attend a free workshop at igor.ac where I'm teaching how I made $21,779.45 in affiliate commissions by sending just 481 clicks to my affiliate link in one day. I'm also explaining why I walked away from ClickBank and I don't promote ClickBank offers anymore, as well as the 5 things I look for in a perfect affiliate offer. I'm even going to show you the one-page website that I used to make over $500,000 in affiliate commissions this year, and I'll even bribe you to attend this workshop by giving you a $497 value course that shows you how to cherry-pick high-converting affiliate offers for your next affiliate promotion. In addition, I'll even give you the 3 offers I'm promoting right now that are making me money as we speak. All that and more at igor.ac. And now it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. Welcome back to another edition of the List Building Lifestyle with your host, Igor Kayfetz. We're just coming off hosting the first ever List Building Lifestyle marketing workshop where we taught people how to write emails that convert, as well as how to get those emails delivered by sharing some up-to-date, super advanced inboxing strategies. And the purpose of this episode is not to sell you the event, although the recordings will be probably available for sale sometime soon or are already available depending on when you hear this. But I wanted to share with you some personal insights that I feel are really important and some things that I really wish I knew before I hosted my first event. However, obviously you can't really know everything ahead of time. So the first one, you always make those mistakes. So I would like to share with you the 5 mistakes that I believe we made, and some of them that I personally made, not just my team, but me specifically, with regards to this first event. So first mistake was to host it in Toronto. Now, the reason we hosted it in Toronto is because we decided to do it in our hometown, and it just made things easier. We didn't have to stay at a hotel, so I could sleep in my own bed. I could still see my kids in the evenings, and just overall, I didn't feel that I was away from home. And this way, it just seemed like a easier thing to do. Plus, in all the prep work for the event, you still had to travel to the venue, and logistically, it seemed like the easiest thing to do, and it probably was. The problem was twofold. The first problem is it's hard to get people to visit Toronto because although it's a pretty neat city, it's not a vacation destination. It's more like a destination you visit just because you happen to know someone, like a family member, or if you've got a seminar, or if you're just crossing the border to Niagara and you're like, okay, well, I'm near Toronto now, so I might as well go visit. So it's not an exciting destination like Vegas or Orlando, for instance, right? Where people go and they love Disney and they'll go and they just have fun while being at the event, which really, really helps. It's not like Maui or Hawaii where people can justify a vacation that's also a write-off, but rather it's also it's always about the business. So that's one problem with Toronto. The other one is not really a problem with Toronto. It's more like a problem with Canada in general. Turns out lots of Americans can get in. Turns out that there are quite a few people in at least in the internet marketing space who done something when they were teenagers or whenever they were kids or whatever. They've done some, they got rowdy apparently, and Canada doesn't forget, so they can't cross the Canadian border. Now, that obviously created a barrier because a lot of people that I've invited to the event who would have, happily, gone and attended it, they couldn't get into the country. They just couldn't get in. So that was a major problem that I was not aware of. And then at the event, another friend of mine, a very famous online marketer, actually shared that he's been hosting events in Canada for a long time. And one of the biggest issues is that, some people just can't get in. So he had speakers who refused the speaking engagement, paid speaking engagement just because they are not allowed to get into Canada, which is still came in as a big shock to me. Another mistake that we made, we basically had to commit to a date. We had to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, okay, this is the deadline. We have to make it happen. And there's no matter what. And so the deadline we chose was 4 weeks out. And that was a mistake. We should have probably committed to a later deadline, so we had more time to market the event. But even though we only had 4 weeks, we still managed to put 30 people in the room at $2,500 a seat, which is not bad. And it just goes to show you the power of having a list and a tribe. But still, 4 weeks put a lot of pressure on us and put a lot of pressure on the attendees. And, it was not only about the marketing part of it, but also about the fact that people, they just make plans. And 4 weeks out for a trip to a marketing seminar is, it's hard. For a lot of people, it's hard. In fact, many people like who wanted to come couldn't come because of it. They had like a scheduling conflict, like another event or another trip that they were having. Or, other people just... It was just really, really hard to rearrange a schedule. Plus, we had it around, I think, the week before Thanksgiving. So that's also like a complicated time for people to leave. And, again, in spite of all of this, we still put people in the room. Yet, I think if I was doing it again, I would have not committed to that deadline. The third mistake, which is purely on me, is we didn't upsell anything at the event, meaning that we had no upsell opportunities, even though people were asking. And this is how I know we should have. You see, people really want to buy more when what they get is good. That's just a natural thing it's like a natural progression that people go through at the events. And the funny thing is that we made a point to follow up with the people who requested all kinds of different things. And the further we got away from the event, the less response we received. So, in other words, if you are to sell anything, make sure to sell it right there in the room. Don't wait for them to go back home, because then it's not the same. They're back into their routine. They get busy, distracted, things change, emotional state changes. It's so different. But when they're in the room, they will approach you and they will ask you, can you do this? Can I get this? Can I get more of you? Can I, etc. And that's when you need to sit down and close the sales, make the upgrades. Not doing it at the event, I think, was a mistake, because people wanted it and we didn't give it to them. But again, this was my decision. Even though my team insisted we sell something, it was my decision. I said, okay, it's our first event. Let's not complicate it. Let's not add more layers of complexity. Let's just go ahead and just deliver a great event. Let's figure out the sales part next time. Yo, it's Igor. If you're loving the content, hop on over to listbuildinglifestyleshow.com for more free training and a free transcript of this episode. Oh, and I'd really appreciate if you logged into iTunes and rated the show. It really helps. Thanks. The fourth mistake was teaching complex marketing secrets, or I guess advanced email marketing secrets, after lunch. So what I noticed is that it was a 3-day event, and the first day people were mostly good. The second day, though, after lunch, they were just tired, like yawning and looking really bored and checking out. The third day, I had 3 people fall asleep at the table. One of whom I actually had to wake up by touching them on their back. It's really hard. I'll tell you what. It's really hard to keep going with your presentation, knowing that people are falling asleep without addressing it, without feeling butthurt about it. But, afterwards I realized that, it was lunch, right? It was the third day, so they were probably tired. We were just post-lunch, and people were practically falling asleep. So next time we have to really make sure that we teach the complex and the advanced stuff in the morning, and then we teach the lighter stuff and more entertaining stuff after lunch. And last but not least, the last mistake is that I've actually did not review the schedule. On the second day, I did not properly review the schedule. I mean, I did review it, but I guess I made a mistake there. and I delivered what was supposed to be a 45-minute talk in 2 hours, basically stretching it out over more time than I should have. And then I had a whole section which I have not taught, through which I had to rush through. And instead of taking an hour and a half to teach it, I taught it in 30 or 45 minutes. And I got some flack for that. Attendees mentioned that they felt I rushed through it. It wasn't enough time. So we had to extend the program on the third day just to cover for it and make sure we devote enough time to show all the examples, to explain all the campaigns. But that was a mistake. Now, thankfully, that's the one we were able to fix the next day, which, in my opinion, why it's so critical to collect feedback every single day on your events, because your customers tell you exactly what they think is good or bad. And that way, you're able to to adjust accordingly. But these were like the 5 biggest mistakes I think that we made on our first event, and definitely the ones that keep haunting me for sure. Especially the one where I forgot that it was like a 45-minute talk and took 2 hours to teach it deliberately, making it more expansive and telling more stories and telling more jokes rather than kind of zipping through it and then moving to the part which was more valuable in my opinion, showing examples of the emails I wrote and breaking those examples down and explaining why those emails worked the way that they did. So anyway, that's what I learned. But here's another big lesson about the events. I was really afraid of the event. I was really, really afraid because it seems like this big thing with lots of moving parts. And of course, having a great team really helps. But what I learned is that once you do this one complicated thing once, it stops being complicated because you're able to see the journey from start to finish. And when it comes to any project that scares the crap out of me, more often than not, what I find is I'm afraid of it because I don't see the journey from start to finish. And anytime I need, I feel I need to bring someone on board to walk me through the process, what I really mean is to do the process with me, start to finish, so I can see how it works. So next time I can do it myself. That's how I did it with my podcast. When I launched it, I had someone on board to basically launch it with me, and I sort of relieved the responsibility to them, making this process much easier than it could have been. And in many ways, the same happened with Google AdWords when we started doing YouTube ads. But you know what I learned besides that? Anything that seems complex most of the time is not. It's the not knowing the details of the process what makes it seem complex. But when you get into it, it's actually just like anything else. It's a series of steps taken in a certain sequence that then create an outcome. And your outcome can be, 20% good, 50% good, or 100% good, depending on how you execute these steps. But taking the steps, even if blindly, and making mistakes and losing time, losing money, is still better than not taking the steps at all. Like I'll at any point in time, I'll take on a bad funnel that sort of works instead of not having a funnel at all. I'll take a list that's semi-responsive over having no list. I'll take a bad marriage or a marriage with issues for no marriage. You know what I mean? Like I'll take something that could be improved but is not perfect over not having it at all. And that's the philosophy that I'm learning. The more I go for things that are scary, right? So writing the book, hosting the first event, launching the podcast, creating products, selling stuff, all of this, it just leads to more and more and more of the same, to recognize that nothing is impossible. And most of the time, it really depends on whether or not you can see yourself going from 0 to 100% or 0 from start to finish, and whether you're willing to do that in spite of not knowing what that journey looks like. That's what it really comes down to. So on the next episode, I'm going to share with you the 5 things we did right and the 5 things which I feel were really critical for the success of the event. So stay tuned for that. And until next time we chat, have a good one. Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Get access to previous episodes, the transcription of today's show, as well as other exclusive content at LizBuildingLifestyleShow.com. Also, don't forget to claim your free seat at the workshop I'm hosting this week, where I showed the two-step system that made me the top affiliate for people like Matt Basak, John Crestani, Richard Legg, Michael Cheney, and many others. In fact, on this workshop, I'm going to show you the exact approach I take whenever I promote an affiliate offer, the exact offers I promote, as well as how I was able to make over $500,000 in commissions using my small list of just 18,000 people promoting a weird type of product that almost no one else promotes. All that is yours at igor.ac. So go ahead, claim your seat right now, and I'll see you there.